Here we go though to 5 red lights for the Italian Grand Prix in Division 4. It's lights out and away we go, and I do think the top two did get a pretty good launch, as I think we got the Williams on the inside maybe trying to make a move, but I think Blake actually in the other Ferrari got a much better start, and going around the outside is going to be the Haas of Speed Slasher on Goat Alonso, and they're still going to maintain it side by side on the exit of turn 2. Who is going to get the better exit? There's a massive pole up out the back there, but we still battle through Curva Grande. I think Goat Alonso manages to get that move down to the back though. A lot of drivers being slow there, but in the top half I think everyone gets away pretty well, but Restored Panda there trying to make a move on the McLaren, but the McLaren just stays in front at the time being. Heading down into Parabolica, and we do see a Williams there trying to make a move on the Alpine down the inside into Parabolica, and I'll tell you what, the Williams got that, but the Alpine is still going to try and fight this down the inside. Has a bit of contact with the Williams, but as we now go down the main straight as we start lap 2, Zora there setting the fastest lap of the race so far. Who is going to be the leading driver? And I do think the Alpine just has to stay behind, but we see at the back there, we see Mel and Milianski going side by side. Milianski getting the move, and we also see Grey Lion getting the move on Failing as well there, I do believe. Down to the back there, we still have two wide there. I think there is a Sauber and an RB going side by side, and I think the RB just gets in front. But looking back up at the front, are we going to see any moves going into Della Rocha? We do actually have some yellow flags at the back. Who is that? And I think that might have been Lassiden, I think, because Lassiden has dropped down some places, or maybe Goldo, but we are going to see Fetch and Keenan go side by side here into Della Rocha. Actually, Fetch gets the move, and I think Keenan just has to stay behind at the moment. All nice and clean. There's actually some battling here going at the back. I think Fetch is going to look for a move down the inside of the Sauber, gets down the inside into Ascari, and I'll tell you what, that was a good move from the Mercedes driver there. And as we now go on to the main straight to start lap 3, will there be any moves being made in the top half of the grid? Let's see. As you can see, Blake moving to the inside there to try and break the slipstream of Goat Alonso. Will there be anything else being made though as we head down into turn 1? And I think all drivers are just going to remain the same at the moment. Although the Sauber is in the slipstream of the Mercedes though, will they be able to do anything going into turn 1? He's gaining. Is he going to look for the inside? Yes, he is. Fetch sees him coming, leaves the space. Bit of contact though as they go through turn 2, as the Aston Martin gets involved in this, but the Sauber still down the inside of the Mercedes driver. Yellow flags at the back, and I think that might have been Mel there, which with an unfortunate spin or something, because he's now down in P11 with his teammate right behind him. Heading into Parabolica, spectating Kevin here. Let's see what he will be able to do. Will he be under pressure by Restored Panda as we go down the straight? And I think Goat Alonso actually made a mistake going into Parabolica as the two Haas drivers actually get in front of him. Can Morgan Hughes do anything to defend off Goat Alonso, or will these two Williams drivers who are now with each other, can they do anything as we actually see Kevin try to pull to the inside? Will he try and get past on his teammate? Yes, he does, down the inside into turn 1. Nearly collects the McLaren there, but managing to just stay behind. What else is going to be made there as we do see Grey Line trying to make a move on Failing, but not able to make anything going into turn 1. Back at the front though, will we see any moves as we are going to see the Williams dive down the inside of the McLaren into Della Rocha chicane, and that was a pretty brave and committed move there from the Williams. Good move from him. Can the other Williams do anything though to try and get past the McLaren? But I don't think he can, as the McLaren had a slight look on the Williams of Kevin into turn 6, but I don't think he was able to. But through turn 7, the McLaren makes a mistake, and Goat Alonso goes around the outside into Ascari and gets the move. Pretty nice there, as Kevin's gone a bit deep into the first part of Ascari. That allows Goat Alonso to go down the inside. Goat Alonso then backs out, and I think Kua now is going to try and make another move on Goat Alonso round the outside into Parabolica, but Restored Panda is there, goes down the inside of the McLaren, and Restored Panda now gets into P7, and we also see Milianski getting on this fight as well, as Milianski now actually goes into P8. The two Williams now need to try and create a wall to stop the bottom half of the grid from going, as we do have safety car as we see both Saubers out of the race. And will this trigger anyone to come into the pits, as we are going to see Godzilla come into the pits? And we also see Keenan, Fetch go into the pits as well. What will Lassiden do though? But I think these top half will come into the pits as well. on the next lap. When is the Ferrari going to go, though? He is basically jumping on the throttle a little bit. The overtake is in Ilwood, and he has gone now. And we do see Restored Panda try and make a move on Kevin already, as he's getting much closer with the slipstream. Can he try and make a move going into turn 1? Will Kevin be able to do anything on the Haas driver, as the Haas is trying to pull to the inside? But Restored Panda way latest on the brakes there, already getting past the Williams, but it's still side by side through turn 1 and turn 2. And Blake and Speed Slasher there going side by side, and I think Speed Slasher was able to get the move there. Good move by the Haas driver, but can Restored Panda do anything going through Curva Grande? Can Blake maybe try and get a repass on Speed Slasher going into Della Roggia? But I don't think he's going to be able to, and I think the grid pretty much remain the same in the top half, but a few moves going on further back though. Are there any moves going into Ascari as we go down this straight? And I think there is a Haas there in the foreground, which is Speed Slasher getting the move on Zora into Ascari. Good move from the Haas. Can the Ferrari do anything though, as they are looking to go around the outside? And they can't make that work, maybe switching to the inside, and they do try and have a look down the inside, as we do see Miliński and Restored Panda in the background go side by side, as Miliński gets through on the Alpine going into Parabolica, but on the exit, Restored Panda trying to find the switchback, but unable to find that as well. Down the straight though, can Zora get past on Speed Slasher? And I think he has. And I think Blake is actually going to make a move as well. Can Kevin do anything? I don't think he can, but the two Ferraris are now in a 1-2 once again, just like it was at the start of the race, as I think there's an Aston Martin there going slow, and I think they have lost a bit of time though. Can Restored Panda do anything though? But I don't think he can. Going down Curva Grande though, Neek is going to go around the outside of the Haas of One Eye. Can Neek try and make the move going into the Della Roggia chicane? And I do think she is down the inside, and that was a very good move there from the Mercedes. Down the straight as we go on to lap 13, and we do see Blake getting the repass on Speed Slasher there. Can Kevin do anything potentially going into turn 1, as Speed Slasher actually moves to the inside of Blake, trying to get the repass already into turn 1 and into turn 2. And I tell you what, Speed Slasher does get side by side. Will he be able to keep it though? Round the outside of turn 2, and I think Speed Slasher has absolutely got that, so fair play to him. But Blake still trying to fight this round the outside going through Curva Grande. Can Kevin do anything to prioritize off of this? But I think Speed Slasher manages to just stay ahead. But are they going to go side by side into the Della Roggia chicane? They just about, but I think Blake has to sit behind, and Kevin can't make the move either. Will there be anything being made into turn 6 though? And the Aston Martin is down the inside, but not able to make that. Just has to back out going into turn 6. Through turn 7 though, always think that's a slight spin, slight tap there, or a slight snap from Restored Panda, and that's going to allow Neek to potentially try and make a move, but not able to get it around the outside. But we do see Blake losing another place to Kevin as well, into Ascari, and Blake now down in P4. Will he be under pressure by the Aston Martin going into Parabolica? And we can see the Aston Martin absolutely pulling to the inside, and Blake now down in P5, as I think Speed Slasher and Miliński going side by side. Look at Neek as well down the inside, and there's a lot of chaos as we go down the next straight into turn 1. Miliński is up into P3. Neek trying to make a move on Restored Panda. Zora has pulled a 2-second gap here, as we are going to see Ghost Alonso try and make a move on Restored Panda maybe. Miliński gets up into P2. Ghost Alonso, that's Restored Panda, sorry, going down the inside of Blake, and actually gets pushed off a little bit, and through goes Ghost Alonso, getting past 2 cars there. Can Neek do anything though? But Ghost Alonso up into P5 there, still side by side between Restored Panda and Blake. And I think Neek is there on the outside of Blake. Can Neek get the move though? But I think Neek just has to sit behind. But that was a lot of battling going on into turn 1 and into turn 2. As we start lap 17, Kevin pulling to the inside to get the repass on Miliński. And I think Goat Alonso also gets the move as well. So good move from them as well to get both the Williams into P2 and P3. Can Miliński maybe try and look for a repass on Ghost Alonso though, and he is going to pull to the outside. Through Curva Grande we go. Can Miliński get back into the podium positions? And I think he's going to be able to, down into Della Roggia, and actually gets the move before the chicane. So good work there from the Aston Martin to get back onto the podium. Kevin in the slipstream of Zora, and I think Kevin is going to move to the inside there to try and make a move on the Ferrari into turn 1 and turn 2, and absolutely gets into the lead. Are there going to be any moves though as we go into the Della Roggia chicane? Let's see. Or will there be any moves further down the back though? But I don't know. But are we going to see Restored Panda and Speed Slasher maybe try and have a battle going into De La Rocha? And Restored Panda there having a much better exit, I think, out of turn 2 and gets right past the Haas just before we go into De La Rocha chicane, before the breaking point. Oh, and he's tapped the sausage curb, and I think into the barrier he goes. And he's going to have to be very careful rejoining there. But what happened to Restored Panda? Always a Speed Slasher actually retires on track. And I don't really know why he's done that, because he was actually in a P2 spot. Why has Speed Slasher done that? Will there be any moves going into Parabolica? And I think we are actually going to see a Haas there try to hold it down the inside. Oh, and he's tapped the side of Grey Line, I think that was. Grey Line has to spin around to face the right way around, but I think Grey Line had a slight snap, and Grey Line has lost a lot of places there as Zora gets back into the lead of the race. Will we see any other moves being made? Blake getting very close to One Eye. But what happened through Parabolica there, as we also see Gordo get into P8 as well from the back of the grid, so a good recovery drive, but Lasserdon holding it back around the outside of turn 2 and gets back into P8. Can Mel potentially do anything though, but I'm not too sure. Gordo still trying to fight this with Lasserdon, but not able to get the move into De La Rocha's chicane. Fetch getting quite close to Restored Panda. Can Fetch do anything into Ascaria? We've seen him do it once before, and he absolutely flies down the inside of Restored Panda and gets it just before Ascaria. Can't anything else be done though? Can Restored Panda maybe try and get a repass on Fetch though? As we do see him try and pull to the outside, and he is. Can Godzilla do anything, as we actually do have another safety car? That's Grey Line. Grey Line has retired, and I think Restored Panda absolutely got in front of Fetch before that safety car came out, so Fetch will have to stay behind as they're all going to hop into the pits. One Eye, Gordo, Lasserdon, Mel into the pits as well. Restored Panda, I believe, will be coming in as well. And again, the top drivers weren't able to get the safety car or weren't able to go into the pits, so I assume they'll come out, or they'll come into the pits next lap, as we do see a few drivers there actually getting a few 10-second penalties. But Restored Panda in as well, Fetch in, Keenan in, a lot of drivers are coming in, and I think most of them are actually going on to medium tyres, a few on softs as well, so let's see how that strategy pans out. But yeah, quite a few drivers opting for the medium tyres so late on in the race as well. What will Kevin be able to do on the restart on the soft tyres? And he has gone now. Will anyone be able to get the jump? And I think Restored Panda, nearly running into the back of Godzilla there, as he thought the race was already underway. But I think Godzilla is going to try and make a move on failing here. But what is going to happen in the top half? Restored Panda has actually now dropped a lot of places, and there is a lot of battling going on there, and I think it involves Neek, Blake, Go to Lonzo as well, I think, in the top half there, as I think there's been a bit of battling in the background as well though, but I'm not too sure. Will we see any moves being made as we go on to the penultimate lap? And we are going to see Keenan try and make a move on One Eye, I think that was, but he isn't able to get it on the exit. Can he get it with the slipstream though, with the DRS? As we're going to see Go to Lonzo get past Millionsky, and I think Lasserdon gets past on Gordo as well in the front. Will there be any moves in the background there? But the Haas nearly running into the side of Restored Panda there, I do think. Gordo. And Gordo nearly rejoins into Keenan and Fetch, I think, who were going side by side. And I don't think any other moves are really going to be made on that though. But will there be any moves going into the De La Rocha chicane? The Red Bull is moving to the inside, but then eventually has to back out, as I think that's... I think that was Neek going around the outside of Milinsky there. Fair move, fair move there from Neek. Any moves being made further back though, and we do see Failing go down the inside of Restored Panda there to get into P12 there. But can Restored Panda maybe try and look for a repass there? But I don't think he's going to be able to. Oh, is that Mercedes there? And I think that's Neek. Yeah, Neek has lost the front end plate and lost a few positions, maybe a bit of contact with them maybe. But we are going to see a few drivers past them. Keenan and I think Fetch as well is going to go past Neek there. But what happened to Neek? I do not know what happened. As we now go down the straight, as Neek goes a bit wide, that allows Mel to get past as well into P9. And Neek is going to have to try and do the final lap with no front end plates. But as we go down the main straight, Zora gets through on Kevin there to get back into the lead of the race. And we are going to see Fetch maybe try and make a move, maybe not. But we're going to see Restored Panda try and make a move on Neek, maybe, with Neek with that front end plate damage, but not into turn 1 on the final lap. as we are going to see Fetch try to go around the outside of Gordo and also try to go down the outside of Keenan as well into De La Rocha chicane. Can Fetch do that? And I think he absolutely can. A good move there from the Mercedes team principal. Can anyone else do anything though, as we're able to see Restored Panda and Failing try and go side by side into turn 6. Very close racing, and I think Failing has just about got that out of turn 6. A wonderful move there from Failing, but can Restored Panda, as I think Failing went a little bit wide, can Restored Panda maybe try and look for the repass going into Ascari? And I do want to see Zora pass the flag, but I don't think we're going to be able to see it unless these battles die down, as One Eye tries to get down the inside of Restored Panda but not able to make it. Can we see anyone else go side by side? And as I think Gordo there is going to go down the inside of Keenan, as I think One A has lost a few places, but it is going to be Zora who will come across the line to win the Italian Grand Prix with the fastest lap as well. Kevin gets P2 with Ghost Alonso finishing P3, Laston finishing in P4 with Blake in P5, Mel will then finish in P6 with Neek in P7, Codzilla will then take P8 with One Eye finishing in P9, and then it will be Failing, Restored Panda, Fetch, Keenan, Milling and Ski, and then Morgan Hughes who round off the grid for the Italian Grand Prix.